Hello everyone, so welcome back to another Gundam Battle Operation 2 video. So today we're going to be going over the history of Gundam Battle Operation that led up to the failed PC network test and what's happening now with that, so you'll get the news on that at the end. So, for those not familiar, Gundam Battle Operation 1 was released on the PS3, on the PS3's architecture, and then Battle Operation 2 with updated gameplay, different environments, more mobile suits, different engine tweaks, and a slightly more up-to-date netcode that was based apparently on the PS3 version, was ported to the PS4 in, I believe, roughly about May, June of 2018. It was originally a Japanese PS4 exclusive game until it was then ported to the West. And on launch in Japan, it had issues with the network connection, which people found were eventually able to be solved via using a Ethernet connection rather than wireless, because the game uses peer-to-peer connection, which more or less means that you get an average connection with everybody connecting to each other's console to run the server that you're playing on. And if anybody has a slower connection, well then you get lag and you get desync, which can then cause issues in things like melee fights and people moving around. Weird stuff like you being out of melee range but being hit. All kinds of crazy stuff. And that still goes on to this very day. It's just not as prevalent as it was or as bad as it was on launch. Fast forward to like 2022 here, where we've recently had a network test announced and been done on GBO2 on PC now, so it's been ported again with, I'm assuming, the same network code that's been brought over from the PS3 to the PS4 and now to the PC, and the client didn't run. It got to the main menu for most people and people just couldn't connect. They couldn't get into the lobby, and there were a lot of people that were angry about this. At one point, I think I saw over 6,000 people trying to join the first series of tests, and apparently there was up to 8,000 people at one point. This was reported by other people, so there's a lot of interest in the game on PC, obviously expanding the audience and trying to capture that new market, especially with Bandai wanting to expand into the West a lot more. That's their current initiative, is to bring Gunpla to the West in any shape or form. But what ended up happening was, like I said, hardly anybody can get in. Those that could get in were few and far between, managed to do the training missions, got into the lobby, and then the game had problems saving. Therefore, they couldn't go any further, and the game would either crash or it would be incredibly laggy. Basically, the network test was a complete and utter failure, but what it did highlight was there were massive issues with the connection because of it being peer-to-peer, and that those needed to be addressed. The team that's doing this is a small subsidiary that have been hired or contracted in to work on this version of the game, compared to the PS4 version of the game, which is also a small team of, we believe, roughly under 40 people. It's not a big team, and the people in charge of everything are obviously Bandai. So if anyone was going to put more money in and try and fix things quicker, it would be Bandai that would be responsible, not the small devs trying to work on this. So the network test was a failure, and there are massive amounts of people angry right now. Now, they said on the 21st that we would get an update as to what would happen with the second series of tests. What ended up happening was they put an update out saying, look, the second series of tests are cancelled as well, which can only mean that there are massive problems that were highlighted by everybody trying to join and effectively DDoSing the connection, so nobody else could really join. As a result, they're working on fixing that now. Now, I've pointed this out in previous videos, but because of the two teams working on very different versions, and it probably still being a peer-to-peer connection, they have to communicate with each other on what they think the fixes will be. There are probably other people getting hired in to try and fix it at the same time. There's a lot of problems with communication, or I imagine there are, as to why it's taking so long. Maybe it's a much more complicated issue than we imagine, but there are a lot of people speculating right now and blaming the devs. So we get up to the 22nd, and they announced basically that they were cancelling all future testing for the moment and trying to again sort things out, which is a very sad sight to see. There are people on the Steam forums now and other places basically saying, look, you probably won't see the game ever again, it's cancelled, it's going to disappear, it's a botched launch. I'm not too sure about that. Again, we've got to give this team time. They're an incredibly small team working on a game that they're probably not familiar with, that has netcode that's been ported from what we believe to be from the PS3 onto the PS4 and then changing that onto the PC. It's a very ambitious project. It's just a case of giving them the time and, more importantly, on Bandai's side of things, giving them the resources and the support to get this done. Unfortunately, for the small dev team, they are getting shouted at left, right, and centre. I don't believe that's the right way to treat them. Again, I've said this throughout all these videos. We need to look at this as optimistic as possible because the game is free. We're not paying anything for it. And sure, people are excited, but I feel like at this point it's getting pretty ridiculous with the aggression pointed directly at them and not at Bandai for giving them extra support in trying to get this out the door. So at the moment, it looks like nothing's happening right now. There is no news updates on when they will be resuming testing. As of this moment, it looks like everything is cancelled, which is incredibly unfortunate. We've just got to hope that things will get sorted and then that we will get further updates in future about what will happen and when they are rescheduling the tests and what is going on with that. Hopefully they'll look at Gundam Evolution in terms of how they approach things. Honestly, it looks like more money went into funding Gundam Evolution because it's more aimed at esports. Bandai have been on about that for some time now, saying they want to target esports in the West and do it with Gundam. So it seems like all of their attention is on Gundam Evolution at the moment. All the money is there. All the devs are seemingly over there working on that. So that's another reason why this has pretty much failed at the testing phase. There's not enough support there in the background, and it's mainly Bandai's fault. Anyway, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes, what new updates we get and when. Again, hopefully this won't be the end we hear of the game. I want to know what you guys think about all this situation, about the team's problems, about how Bandai has handled this, whether you think it's good or bad. I want to hear that down in the comments below. I obviously read everything, so you won't go ignored. So yeah, thank you very much for watching the video. Stay tuned for more updates on this situation as it develops. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!